Calling the Township of Lower Makefield Zoning Hearing Board meeting for May 21st, 2024 to order. First up, I must point out that at the time right now, we have 4 members of the board up here. So for an approval, you need 3 A's. So you might want to consider that when you're up here presenting to us, whether you might want to do a postponement in the postponement to a later date or continuance. Speaking of continuances, Appeal Z 24-10.
Yes, so applicant sent an email, I guess, to Dan today requesting a continuance to the June 4th meeting so they can work out some things with the plans and resolve any issues that might come up with that one. And that's the township is participating in that, has no objection to the continuance.
I'll move the Appeal Z 24-10 be continued until the June 4th meeting.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye. Okay. Okay, Appeal Z 24-10 is continued to June 4th, 2024. Next up is Appeal Z 24-2, Pastorio. So come back up and get sworn in again, guys. And Adam will read in the exhibits, new exhibits.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We're going to mark the aerial photograph as A4. There was a property deed originally that was not marked. That's A5. We have the revised plans as A6 and the revised impervious and stormwater sheets collectively as A7.
Would you state and spell your full name?
Charles Pastorio.
Joel Petty,
Spell your last name.
Petty.
You both solemnly swear or affirm a testimony about to give you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes.
Yes, I do.
All right, Dan, you're gonna pull up the plan?
Yeah, I'm sharing my screen. It's not on the big screen for some reason. I'm not sure if the Zoom's not working, but I'm doing it as normal. Oh, okay. I'm not crazy.
Okay. Oh, okay, we now have 5 members of the board present. All right, so talk to us about the revised plan.
Okay, the revised plan proposed now is to move, step 1 was to move the garage inside the building envelope. So now there is no request for any side yard setback. That accomplished a couple things, as well as eliminating any need for that longer breezeway and some of the other connection points to it being an accessory structure. Beyond that, we've looked at optional ways to reduce the impervious coverage, both in the driveway and the pull-off that Charles would like to propose next to the driveway. So those areas, and some review with Jim Majewski, was to utilize those as grass drivable pavers. And that now is getting us to an impervious number closer to 22.5% instead of the 26 that we were closer to before. And then the mitigation of a proposed seepage bed is now designed to accommodate the entire overage of the proposed construction. We're not allocating any trees existing or proposed to be planted, even though Charlie is going to be planting trees, but we're not using any of that to calculate stormwater management for this proposal. So at the moment, the structure's within the building envelope, and we're trying to reduce the stormwater management and then the stormwater proposed, and then mitigate that with management to accommodate everything that's being constructed. And that's where it sits at the moment.
Okay. Questions from the board?
This question's for Dan. Dan, the stormwater management, what does it actually calculate back to effectively? An effective impervious surface of?
It's below the 18%. I think it's the 14.9.
It's exactly 14.9?
It's around there. I don't know the exact number, but it's well below the allowable.
Thank you.
No problem.
I just have a comment. well done. Seriously, we gave you guys a lot of negative feedback when you were here. And no, I mean, but it was legitimate. And you guys came back with, I was like going over doing my homework at home and I was like, holy smokes, look at my neighbor Pistorio. So anyway, real good job.
I have to say, I appreciate I appreciate the use of pervious pavers too. I wish more people would consider the use of pervious pavements. I know it's in our commercial application as a strategy. We haven't seen it much in residential. Matt, do you have any comments, questions?
No, it's I like the plan a whole lot better than before. So I have a thunderstorm rolling through, so I'm gonna be on mute.
I'm really happy. Again, we did give you a pretty hard time, which is not my norm, but I really appreciate that you really went back, reworked it. It really looks nice.
Well, any public comment in the room? Okay, there is no public comment online because the light is not lit. All right, so I guess we'll entertain a motion, not hearing any further discussion.
This one's on you.
I'll make a motion to approve appeal number Z-24-2 as presented tonight, wherein the existing impervious surface at 14.9 is being increased to a proposed impervious surface of 22.6%, but mitigated back to an effective impervious surface of 14.9%. Also making note that we no longer need to render an opinion on the side yard setback since it is less than 25 feet.
I'll second.
Did we have the subject to a review by the township in that?
No.
Okay.
Subject to township engineer review in regard to the stormwater management / seepage bed.
Is there a second? Okay. Any discussion? Further discussion? Okay, all those in favor of appeal Z-24-2 as currently described by Jim?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
Thank you.
It's the actual construction, confirm that construction details. That's why we always put that in there. Okay, next up is appeal Z-24-11. If you can come up to the table and get sworn in. That's you guys. You might as well grab the microphone from the stand too, so you've got another one at the table and a chair. Go ahead, Mr. Flager, and read in the exhibits.
Sure. We'll have the application as A1, site plans as A2. The impervious surface and stormwater will be collectively marked as A3. B1, proof of publication, B2, proof of posting, and B3, notice to the neighbors.
Would you all state and spell your full name, please?
Brian Stover, Brian Stover.
Alan Brackup, Alan Brackup.
Brian Patterson, Brian Patterson.
Do you all solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead and explain to the board what it is you'd like to do and what you're looking for here.
I'm Brian Stover.
Microphone.
Sorry. Sorry. I'm Brian Stover. I am the contractor for the project. I designed the swimming pool and outdoor living project for Mr. Brackup and his family. Been designing swimming pools for over 25 years, upwards of 1,300 of them. And we are seeking a variance at 1756 Ashburn Drive in the Makefield Brook development. The lot currently sits at, it's 36,737 square feet, which is 0.84 acres. The existing impervious is 7,187 square feet, which has it sitting at 19, right?
19 point.
Thank you, Dan. So it currently sits at 19.6. So we're removing the existing patio and walkway and have redesigned that and are adding a swimming pool in the backyard with patio around it. Brian Patterson is the survey engineer on the project who did the topographical survey plan and recognized that we were exceeding the limit. We were already over the limit and we exceeded the limit. So he designed stormwater management to mitigate the additional impervious coverage for the lot. You guys have a copy of the plan, right?
Yeah.
So on the plan, you can see we have an outdoor living space with the outdoor kitchen and a seating area, walkway to the driveway, and then we have a swimming pool, spa, and just immediate walkway going around the pool with a small lounge area and then a shade structure in the back there. And then on the downhill slope side in the back right corner as you face out, Brian has designed a seepage pit stormwater management to mitigate the overage of it. It's actually a little bit more, I believe it's 63 square feet more than, it can accommodate 63 square foot more than what we're proposing.
The seepage bed as it's designed is actually larger than it needs to be by 63 cubic feet.
When you say larger by 63 cubic feet, so our effective is now lower than 18%, or is it lower than the 19.6%?
It'd be lower than, so I believe the zoning maximum is 19% for this district.
It's 18%.
Is that right, Dan?
It's 18, yes. Yeah, it's 18%.
Then I have it incorrectly shown on my plan. I thought I got that from the zoning ordinance.
No, I mean, when you submit the permit, you can just change it to 18, but the ordinance is 18. It's either the recorded plan or the ordinance is 18%. I think it's probably for the recorded plan for this subdivision is 18%, but it's not 19.
So I believe it's incorrect in my plan then. So I was referencing everything by the 19%. Right now, if it's not under the 18%, I would go back and look at the design of the bed to make sure we get it under what's allowable. If it's 18, we would get it under the 18.
Understood.
I know that other members of the board have questions here, so
If you'd like, I have some other visuals that I could like to submit to you folks to see where we're at. A couple tax maps, colorized tax maps, and an existing features plan. So what's tough to see on the plan on the screen and the plans that were submitted is what's existing today, if you'd like to see those.
And I can pull it on the aerial as well.
make sure you provide a copy over here to Adam so we can add it.
First page of this handout is the existing features.
All good. Just the 2 pages, right?
That's correct.
Okay, so we'll do the existing features as A4. And the next page, which is aerial parcel map we'll mark as A5.
So one thing I'd like to point out on the existing features plan that is not shown, unfortunately, the right rear corner of the property, you can see the contours on the plan, but what I left off of the plan was a spot elevation at the right rear corner near an iron pin found, which was at grade, ground level. The elevation of the right rear corner of the property is 178.3. And the reason I bring that to your attention is that it shows that the property, the existing rainwater today, flows from left to right towards the right rear corner of the property. The second page, the colorized sheet, is simply taken from the Bucks County's website. Yes. What you're not seeing on the screen over there is I turned on a layer for the contours. These contours are USGS contours every 5 foot. But the importance of them shows that just like my survey did, is that the current flow, direction of flow for any rainwater. Perfect. Yep. Flows from left to right. On Mr. Brackup's property, where I have the stormwater seepage bed designed, if it were to ever flow, when we design it to make sure we meet that 18%, if it were to ever flow, one of the things that you folks need to understand when making your decision is that we're not harming anyone downstream. And I say that because if it were to overflow, it's going into a wooded area. And each of the neighbors' properties is behind Mr., I forget the name, the neighbor to the north. And you see the wooded area on the screen. It goes to the wooded area and then flows directly to Core Creek. So it's not going in anyone's front yard, side yard, or anything to hurt our downstream neighbors. We don't foresee that happening because I thought I had it over-designed, but I will make sure that we at least capture that to get us under the 18% if that's the criteria.
Thank you. Questions from the board?
I'm noticing it's under an acre lot, and it seems like the amount of impervious surface is what, about 3,000 square feet of that? I'm not as great at the calculations as Dan is. I don't have my handy dandy calculator. But it just seems like an awfully ambitious, large, for this neighborhood. I don't say it's not attractive because it is. But I don't know how your neighbors, like almost behind you, catty corner, whatever they are, how, I don't know if they have said anything, if you've spoken to them.
Spoke to neighbors.
Turn that on.
It's okay.
Not sure. I'm not sure if it's northeast, south, or west.
Apparently it's not working.
Yeah.
Yep.
As I say, I can't speak for northeast, south, or west, but as you face our house to the right, they contacted us today. Actually, it was really very nice of them, but they just said, we have no objections, and the Hilsers, yes. So they did contact us and say, we're perfectly fine with that.
And Greg Hilser did send an email to Dan, Jim, and myself stating his support.
Really nice. That was very nice of him.
We can, if you want, I can make that part of the record and mark it as A6. But he did send that email.
It looks like you have two other rear adjacency lots. So any feedback from them?
Dan, were the people like across the street notified, or just out of curiosity?
No, not per the map.
We had someone put a sign up in our yard.
That's the public posting, yes, but it's also, there's also notification provided to the adjacent neighbors, and there's been some back and forth here at the township level about how much notification they're doing by mail, and Judy was just informed that it was not changed since the last meeting.
It hasn't.
Not your issue. It's-
Not
This
your
is
issue
a
of the
different
board.
issue. It's not yours.
Yeah, I mean,
It's not- No.
based on the topography, the people across the street are unaffected by it, but, yeah. I just have a comment. I don't have any questions. I mean, I'm jealous. I think it looks great. I mean, I think it looks fantastic. Like you guys can, if you get this across the finish line, you'll be able to, charge memberships out here, but it looks really nice. I'm a big believer in, stormwater management when it's conceived and engineered correctly. So from my seat, I don't have a problem with it, but I'm just one guy or one member.
I happen to, I'm gonna make a comment, and then I think Matt and, well, Sue wants to make a comment too at this point. I mean, it does seem like an awful lot on the property, and my personal opinion is I think it needs to be scaled back, but I'm willing, I think everybody needs to weigh in here on the board with what they're thinking. It does seem like a lot for the space, and it's a significant increase.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you, Peter. It's, I mean, you got 2 to 3 outdoor eating areas. It looks like 2 socialization areas. There's just a lot of impervious going on for the back of this lot area. I think you're reaching for what's realistic. So.
And just to clarify for your earlier comment, it is 18%. The ordinance I think you were looking at refers to homes built after 1988, and this was built in 87. So it would refer to the ordinance below it, 200-19B. And then since you're over that threshold for the minimum acre, excuse me, it is 18%, just to clarify.
All right. Masud, do you have a comment you want to bring up now or not?
I have one question regarding the elevations. So your existing contour shows elevation is 182, but your full deck elevation is 6 inch lower than the surrounding. That's the plan is, or keep it 6 inch lower than the surrounding area? Where the red pavilion deck is, you have 181.5. And the existing contour are 182, which is 6 inch higher.
With the mic.
The sitting area at the end of the pool is at 182.
Excuse me.
You can do it up.
Yeah,
to-
it'd be
do it up
better
to
if you-
TV, and you're actually caught on the camera then too.
Great. So the pool deck is at 181.5. The seating area at the far end is at 182. So it is a 6 inch step up to get to the seating area. Here's the 180 contour. The 183 is at the existing patio that we'll be removing is 183. So it is a step down to the proposed pool deck. Actually, 1-2 steps down possibly. This is a fairly flat lot, believe it or not. And I did the grading this way so that we can capture any runoff in a swale that would be coming around this side and directing it to the seepage bed. Same thing up on this side. We show flow lines coming around. Any runoff would be captured and brought into this side of the seepage bed. That was the thought behind it. I can revisit the elevations, kind of hard to read on the screen. But I can revisit those contours and make sure that we're getting the runoff there. I'd like to also add that natural BMPs can be utilized here as well, of which I did not put any of those in the calculations for the seepage bed. The back property line, if you had the aerial back up, is a wooded property line back here. I say wooded, there are trees. There are also trees on the neighboring property that you had questioned to the north. once, almost as soon as it leaves the property, it's hitting a truly wooded area. Not our property, but I believe it's probably within that 100-foot requirement for use of natural BMPs. So we have the non-compaction of that area as a natural BMP. We have the trees and the coverage as a natural BMP, and the overland flow to allow the water to cool as a natural BMP as well.
Well, yeah, thank you. And I'm glad that you're well aware of all these things, and there's no disagreement. We frequently get applicants that we have to go through a little bit of an education process with this on. But just to point out, generally our concern with natural BMPs with these discussions, not that it's relevant here because you are proposing to mitigate it entirely, but for if anybody's listening online, is that we don't know what the next landowner is going to do or what the adjacent property owner is going to do in the future. And so therefore, vegetation, it's great. We like it. We want to see it, but we don't view it as a good long-term solution when something's being asked for a variance. I mean, it is a variance for a reason. You're asking for a change from what's allowed by code. So, I mean, and like I said, in my mind, it seems like a lot for the property back there. And I don't know how much more we want to talk about that, but in my mind, you know, there is a lot of, you have that big patio area behind the house with the kitchen area and seating areas and that, you know, is it really necessary to have all those other seating areas out there?
It's just a lot. I mean,
We
waited 31 years.
please, I waited 47 in my house to put a pool in. You don't have to tell me. I understand.
I respect that, exactly what you got.
But I also
I-
had to scale back my imagination or my creativity to make sure that
That's my imagination.
you did a good job, I will tell you. But, and I have a large family, so, and everybody's always there. And, which I also understand. And I mean, we sit down on a Sunday afternoon, it could be 19 people before anyone invites anyone. So I do understand it, but this really seems more like a country club amount of seating than what would be the norm. Is that?
We did discuss possible ways to scale back, just be transparent here. You know, one of the things I look at when I do design, I do look at the impervious coverage stuff, but also look at homes surrounding. And I absolutely do not want to pick on anybody, but there are quite a few of them in this development, and just based off of Google Earth and knowing how to scale the lots. I mean, there's a lot over on Inverness that has a U-turn driveway with a swimming pool, and it's on 0.83. And I mean, my simple math on that one, you know.
I understand that.
Yeah.
And I can't give any reasoning for what a former zoning board would have done.
Sure.
But with our change in climate, which became very clear to me today when I was informed we are no longer a 7A for planting, we're a 7B because in the last 8 years, our average temperature is a little about 5 degrees warmer. We are getting, and I'm here 48 years in my home, so I know what the normal frequency of a big storm is. And we've had a lot more, I would say, in the past 5 to 6 years than we had in all those years leading up. I think we had one in the 90s.
Yeah.
I remember
So,
well.
and I will add a little bit more here. It's a little bit more scientific regarding this. The National Weather Service and NOAA are adjusting the rainfall forecast for the 2-year design storm, 5-year storm, 10-year storm, and those numbers are going up.
Sure.
So we do hear about, just to give you the technical background, what we're designing for now actually isn't the new numbers that are expected to be forthcoming. And
Jersey
so,
just.
and we hear from public, but you do not have any comments here from the public here tonight. We do hear from the public frequently in some of these neighborhoods, like the one where Judy lives, about runoff with the recent storms we've had, particularly since there's a lot of clay in the township here and a lot of properties. And I suspect your area is on clay. I don't know that. I don't have the soil type.
I'll tell you if we dig the pool.
I was surprised because my area had been a farm. It had been an actually apple orchard before they built the development. My house was one of the last built, and it's at least 10 years, almost 10 years younger than anything on my street. There's only one younger, and 20 years than when they started it. I mean, this was before somebody stuck a spade into Yardley Hunt and yelled station wagons ho or something. But I have seen a major change, and I do know that when I dig down past the really nice topsoil where the farmers must have worked for a century or more, it is clay. And I'm from Georgia, and I'm used to red clay. This is yellow clay, but it's the same thing. Water just does not go through it.
And but I appreciate the fact that you're willing to mitigate back to the 18%. And there's no, it's just the scale of the project here. And I think Matt wants to weigh in with another comment again here too.
I think Peter's pretty much hit it on the head. It's the scale of what you guys are doing is a bit much even for that size house. So stormwater being stormwater, I know Jersey's going to the 2100 year storm now. There's other states that are doing more, but regardless of stormwater improvements, I think what you're proposing is fine. It's just the scale of what you're looking to do. Unless you guys are looking to throw like 50+ person parties, it's a lot.
I just wanted to add a comment since you were here for the first application. They came here months ago with a plan, and they went back to the drawing board, revised those plans, and they were able to cut 4% off their impervious coverage. I'm not saying you'll be able to cut 4%, but and kind of see where the board's going. It might be worth checking that out, take a little bit of time, see what might be more palatable, and then go from there.
Yeah, I like the fact that you guys allow the permeable pavers also, and that could be potentially an option as well. So
love to see more permeable pavers. Peter said it before, it's not really used in residential, but there's certain applications for it. I could see coming up. I'm more than willing to give you guys a continuance and give you guys some time to think about this some more and then come back to the board if you'd like to do that.
what would be an idea of where you feel we could get to? Because I'll draw this tomorrow.
That's up to you.
Okay.
I think you've kind of heard a couple of our suggestions, but go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, I was going to say that's entirely up to you. There's 3 members of the board that I think are going to vote against this if you want to push it tonight. I would suggest, like Adam said, the prior applicant, he took about a month, I believe, and basically did some very nice redesign, rotated some buildings, got things more compact, cut off quite a bit of impervious coverage, and came back in, and it was pretty well received. So
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Well, I do want to make a comment. I thought that was a fair question, which is, what are we looking to see in terms of proposed impervious? Right now, you're at 27.6. I mean, I already said that I was fine with it, but clearly, like Matt just said, it is true. We have 3 members who have expressed themselves. Do you guys have an idea of what makes sense to you so they can design to it?
I'm not the designer.
I think I offered my opinion already, which is the outside seating areas being removed and maybe perhaps thinking about making some of the sidewalks more compact or pulling the pool closer to the building. Those are all ways that would reduce the square footage. Go ahead.
I am looking at one little area of the patio. I can see where it goes around, but then there's the additional parts. And I where the concrete washout is. And I mean, it's pretty. I'm not saying it's not. I really appreciate the symmetry and the design. But it's like just more. I can't put my fingers.
Actually, where that concrete washout is that you mentioned, there's actually an existing sidewalk there today. We're going to be replacing that.
Okay,
That's actually existing today, but we were going to be replacing it with the overall project.
okay.
Yeah, I'm listening. Seem very reasonable. So, for the most part. I do want to comment on your permit process because it's fantastic, and I wish every township would adopt that. Dan,
them.
That's them.
absolute
board.
phenomenal
Thank you.
job. Yes.
It's been much more seamless, but thank you.
Yeah. Now, if every other township could do that, that'd be very good.
How much time do you think you would need? We meet, first and third Tuesdays of every month.
So it'd be the June 4th and 18th would be our next two meetings.
I was prepared for a revision of some sort. I did not do it yet, but it's on my calendar to do this week. So I'll as soon as you guys can do it, I'll put something together, and hopefully we're back here proposing something that can be approved.
I guess I would like some clarification. Had we come here today with those patio areas that seem a bit unnecessary. If those patio areas were pervious pavers, they wouldn't be in the calculations, but they would still be.
I think we'd still be
Patios.
looking for a reduction.
Reduction.
Because it just looks large relative to the property, and that has been a topic before. So
Yeah, the pervious pavers still count as impervious in the calculations for the town, but they are stormwater management BMP.
It's more of a scale issue. It's a combination of a scale and the impervious issue, but it's the scale too for some of us. And there's a reason why it had 18%. It was meant to be more open space. So
I understand. We're accepting your continuance, and I'm confident that we can propose something that is reduced in size, and hopefully you guys see that we made the efforts to do that, and we're back here soon to.
You want the first June meeting or the second June meeting?
Yeah, June 4th or June 18th.
Ooh.
And Dan, what's the agenda like on both those nights?
There's two on both. So there's two continuances on the 4th, and then there's two new ones on the 18th. So
Can we be first?
And when would you need that plan by to be on that first meeting?
I would defer to the board when they would like a plan.
I mean, generally, I don't dig into this until 2 or 3 days before our board meetings, so I'd be fine with having something early Monday, the 3rd.
well, I think it should be out earlier than that, just for the chance for public comment. I don't know exactly what that is, but I think it's the week prior.
I believe, isn't there a
Isn't it?
5-day requirement?
Yeah.
It's on a Tuesday, at least, I would think by Wednesday or Thursday, at least of the week before.
Next Monday's
Memorial Day, so it wouldn't count that.
But I think if you had it done by next week, maybe.
Kind of
midweek is
pushing it.
Probably not, that's. Oh, I'm sorry. You probably heard me, but TV land didn't. If you could get it done by like a week, sometime midweek, next week, that would probably be fine. If you can't get it done by that and you need a little bit more time, so you're not rushed, you can go to the drawing board, talk to Dan, talk to Jim Majewski. If you need a little bit more time, I would suggest June 18th. That way you're not rushed. You can figure out what you really want to do, go over it, make any revisions, and you're not,
Yep.
rushed over a holiday weekend.
I would say the consensus is the
Okay. We'll entertain a motion. 18.
I'll make a motion to continue to June, what did you say, the 4th?
18th.
18th. I'll make a motion to continue whatever number this is to June 18th.
And now you cut out, but we got that.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All right, all in favor? Aye. Okay. See you back on the 18th. Thank you.
Very much.
All right, other business, back to public notifications.
Well, I did
Go,
speak
go.
to one Board of Supervisors member who understands. If you'd like, I can reach out to the other 4. I have no problem. I have their phone numbers.
Well, Dan is aware, but I
Yes.
think Adam has as a solution that we can implement
Send
immediately.
send a letter if the board is inclined. Just send a letter to I guess Dan as our supervisor liaison, as well as the township manager, just requesting that in the interim, they might be changing things in the future, but in the interim, just please notify for any upcoming ones before it's officially done, notify the neighbors across the street as well.
Yeah.
Because obviously, as we all know, some of these projects affect your neighbor across the street more than it affects the neighbor behind you or to the side of you. So I can send that letter this week.
I think it would be great.
That's no problem. So I'll be doing the packets now. So that's fine. I can do that.
Okay. Great.
I think it's to get our position on record, at least to get this.
I'm aware. I'm just saying.
Okay, any other discussion items?
To be official, do we need a motion for that, or is it, or
You can if you want, but just a letter.
okay, all right. Just didn't know.
Do we need a motion?
Make him.
Is there a motion to concur with the letter as described?
Yes, I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Now, then we won't be looking at these slips that have the neighbors, which actually the one that was continued tonight,
Oh.
the most impacted person is the person across the street that wasn't
Ah.
notified.
Yeah, that's not right.
All right, what are we looking like for the next meeting?
There's 2 continuances for the 4th and then 2 new ones on the 18th. And
then that continues.
And then that one, sorry.
Okay,
So 2 and 3, yeah.
all right.
If there's
Awesome.
no other new business.
Go ahead, Matt.
I just said awesome, that's all.
There we go. Okay.
If there's no other new business, may I move that we adjourn the meeting tonight? I move that we adjourn. I need a second.
I second. All in favor?
I
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. We're done for the 21st.